we are sorry that we committed the things that you are criticizing us for. We accept responsibility. At ako mismo nagpaturok, well, it's the decision of my doctor. Anyway, it's my life. Ang mga experts nagsabi na wala pang ano ito, hindi pa dumaan ng examination sa atin. Ang binigay na ang compassionate use, which is really illegal excuse to have the compassionate use when the government allowed it to be used for compassionate use. That itself was an authority for people to be injected. Pero kung konti lang ang naturukan ito, yung tinurok sa akin, I said, it's a decision of my doctor, and all things said, this is my life.
More countries are now under the Philippines travel ban to prevent the entry of the Indian B1617 variant. President Duterte orders the arrest of those who aren't wearing their face masks properly. Just a couple of days after inoculation, the president says sorry for getting the Sinopharm vaccine. Duterte once again lashes out at former DFA Secretary Albert de Rosario and former Supreme Court Justice Antonio Carpio as tensions escalate over at the West Philippine Sea. This time the president challenged Carpio to a debate. And meet the new PNP Chief, Lieutenant General Guillermo Eleazar. Focused and fearless. Here's everything you need to know as you jumpstart your day. I'm Charles Lejano. Kicking off today's newscast with the government imposing another travel restriction to prevent the entry of the B1617 variant first reported in India. Travelers from Bangladesh, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka will not be allowed to enter the Philippines starting May 7 until May 14. Those who will arrive from the said countries prior to the travel ban will be permitted entry, but they will be required to undergo an absolute facility-based 14-day quarantine. Filipinos and foreign passengers who are merely transiting through the Indian subcontinent will be allowed to enter the Philippines for as long as they stay at the airport the entire time. The country's health system capacity is slowly getting better. That's according to the report of the Health Secretary Francisco Duque III last night. Duque said that the latest average daily attack rate nationwide has dropped to 7.8 from April 18 to May 1. He explained that should this figure drop to less than 7, the Philippines may be downgraded into a moderate risk category for COVID-19. The 2-week growth rate has also dropped to negative 15% over the same period, while healthcare utilization rates have also declined. Despite the improving figures, President Duterte says most hospitals are still full. That's why he is ordering the arrest of those who will not properly wear face masks in public.
My orders to the police are those who are not wearing their mask properly in order to protect the public. Kasi kung hindi mo ma-depensahan yung publiko, to arrest them and detain them, investigate them why they are doing it. You have 9 hours. I-detain mo, tapos investigahin mo siya kung bakit ganun ang behavior nila.
In the same event, President Duterte apologized to the nation for getting vaccinated using Sinopharm. This comes after facing backlash for using this vaccine brand that has not yet even applied for emergency use authorization with the FDA. Duterte explained that the vaccination was completely legal since the FDA had granted a compassionate use permit for the drug. However, he said that he completely understands the criticisms and accepts responsibility for the matter.
So we are sorry. You are right. We are wrong. Ang Sinopharm, maybe tomorrow or following day, wala na yan. I made it as a personal request. Sabi ko, tanggalin mo na lang. You withdraw all Sinopharm vaccines, 1,000 of them. Huwag ka na lang magpadala ng Sinopharm dito para walang gulo. Sabi ko, bigay mo lang sa amin yung Sinovac na ginagamit sa lahat.
Vaccine czar Carlito Galvez Jr. also announced that the Pfizer and AstraZeneca delivery from the COVAX facility will arrive this month. This would bring the total vaccine deliveries this May to 7 million doses. Despite this, the president admits that vaccine supply remains a problem.
Who would ever expect, who would ever think that there will be a pandemion in this epidemic or pandemic? Itong ating problema sa Pilipinas, kulang ang bakuna. Nagbibili tayo kung saan-saan at dumadating lang ngayon pakunti-kunti. Were it not for, the donation of China, wala tayo zero, we started with nothing.
The FDA is under fire for its alleged inaction on the issue of the smuggled Sinopharm shots, which even the president was able to use. Greg Gregorio with the report.
A former top health official has expressed concern over the Food and Drug Administration's, quote, very weak position in regulating the use of COVID-19 vaccines in the country. One-time Health Secretary Esperanza Cabral made the remark in the context of President Duterte's inoculation with Sinopharm's shot, which has not been approved for emergency use in the country.
Its regulatory function has been disrespected right and left by politicians, by other more influential people, and people who can pressure the Food and Drug Administration into doing things that they should not be doing.
Cabral explained that FDA's shortcomings started from the granting of special compassionate permit for Sinopharm after it was used among members of the Presidential Security Group without emergency use approval. No less than Defense Secretary Delphine Lorenzana had admitted that the shots were smuggled.
When they were vaccinated, there was no compassionate special permit and no emergency use authorization for Sinopharm. But after that, FDA chose to regularize this irregular use of Sinopharm by providing it with a compassionate special permit.
FDA Director General Eric Domingos said they're still looking into the matter, but they have yet to receive any information from the PSG more than 5 months since the inoculation.
Tried working with the Bureau of Customs to check in records if there are any signs of any smuggled vaccines, no? But blank wall, we're not really getting any information on that.
The same shot was recently administered to President Duterte by Health Chief Francisco Duque himself. Spokesman Harry Roque explained that this was covered by the compassionate use permit issued by the FDA. In terms of safety and efficacy evaluation, the country's vaccine experts panel said they are having a hard time as Sinopharm has not yet submitted EUA requirements in the country.
Doon sabi, mataas naman daw, pero we do not have the actual data, kaya mahirap po para sa amin magsalita. Kasi kami pag tumingin technical ang aming tinitignan.
Unlike other vaccines, no detailed efficacy data have been released for the Sinopharm shot, except from its own developer. For News 5, Greg Gregorio, we are One News.
President Duterte downplays the country's arbitral win over the West Philippine Sea, calling it a mere piece of paper. The chief executive maintained that the Aquino administration jeopardized our claim to the West Philippine Sea when our troops were pulled out of the 2012 standoff in China. He said then DFA Secretary Albert de Rosario shares the blame for ordering our troops out, even as the Chinese Coast Guard stood their ground. Recall that the U.S. brokered a deal to defuse tensions during this standoff, ordering both troops to retreat, but only the Philippines honored the agreement, while China did not. Still, Duterte thinks this move negated the arbitral ruling that declared the waters as exclusively ours.
Nagfile sila ng kaso, nanalo tayo. Yung papel, sa totoong buhay, between nations, yung papel, wala yan. Kung sino yung tigas, United States, Britain, ano, pagka ginusto nilang gawin, tayo, nanalo. Ngayon, pagdating ko, ang barko nandyan sa West Philippine Sea, China boat, ship, tayo wala na. Tapos sabi nila, itong papel na sa kaso nanalo tayo, ipurso mo. Pinurso ko. Walang nangyari.
The president then challenged former Supreme Court Justice Antonio Carpio to a debate regarding the Aquino administration's supposed faults in asserting our claim to the waters. To sweeten the offer, Duterte once again placed his presidency on the line.
Gusto mo, magdebate tayo. Madalawa, tatlong tanong lang ako. Sino ang nagpa-retreat? At anong ginawa ninyo after sa retreat? Pahal ng kaso. Ngayon nanalo. Ma-enforce ba natin? Ngayon, kung ako yung nagsisinungaling, mag-resign ako bukas kaagad. Yan ang garantiya ko sa inyo.
Despite ordering Chinese ships out of the Sabina Shoal, the Chinese Coast Guard continues its intimidation of Philippine ships in Bajo de Masinloc. National Security Advisor Hermogenes Esperon says this is a clear violation of our sovereignty. Marian Enriquez has the rest of the report.
Unidentified foreign vessel at Sabina Shoal. This is Philippine Coast Guard. PRP Cabra MRRV 4409. You are within Philippine Exclusive Economic Zone. You are requested to provide the following: name of vessel, intention, last and next port of call on Channel 16.
This was the radio challenge of the Philippine Coast Guard to 7 Chinese maritime vessels spotted in stationary linear position along the Sabina Shoal on April 27. Sabina Shoal is only 73 nautical miles from Rizal, Palawan, well within the country's exclusive economic zone. PCG vessel BRP Cabra spotted the Chinese militia during a maritime exercise, and in an unexpected reversal of roles, the Chinese ships left the shoal after around 20 minutes.
Malis na sila, sir. May kasama tayong abogada dun sa sa barko. Siya yung actually nagsasalita. Sila ay nung nilapitan ay nag-start ng makina, tinaas yung mga anchors nila at isa-isa pong umalis at inescortan natin hanggang masigurado natin na wala na po sila doon sa Sabina Shoal.
When the BRP Cabra returned to Sabina Shoal 2 days later, PCG spokesperson Armand Balillo said only 5 from the initial 7 Chinese vessels remained. The Chinese ships left upon the arrival of the PCG.
Fishing ground din yon at saka alam mo parang doon sa Julian Felipe siguro magandang lugar yon para pagtabuan kung masama ang panahon.
But over in Bajo de Masinloc on April 24 and 25, 3 Chinese Coast Guard vessels reportedly intimidated 2 PCG ships on patrol. National Security Advisor and West Philippine Sea Task Force Chair Hermogenes Esperon condemned the move, saying China's actions violated the country's sovereignty. Esperon also rejected an annual 6-week-long fishing ban in the area that was imposed by China. Bureau of Fisheries Director Eduardo Gongona instead encouraged Filipino fishermen to set out to sea.
Para magkaroon tayo ng makuha natin yung production talaga na kailangan natin doon. Nandun yung Coast Guard, nandun yung Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources sa mga assets, mga vessels, and police, nandun, pati yung ating other agencies para sila ay protektahan.
The NTF West Philippine Sea said they will continue the patrols and maritime exercises within the country's EEZ. For News 5, Marian Enriquez, we are One News.
Police Lieutenant General Guillermo Eleazar has accepted his appointment as the next PNP Chief. This after President Duterte signed his appointment, with Malacanang touting the former NCRPO director's, quote, track record, dedication, and integrity. Eleazar thanked President Duterte and DILG Secretary Eduardo Año for believing in his capability to lead the country's police force. He also said getting appointed as PNP Chief comes with steep expectations from the Filipino people. But Eleazar says he's willing to accept these challenges. And that's how the day is shaping up to be. Join us later at 10 a.m. as we monitor the day's biggest stories from sunrise to sundown. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Just register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime and anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.